Dear students, now we are entering into the last module of this subject, module number 5, strategies for developing happiness in personal and professional life. I'm sure so far the experience of yours in the various activities that we have done so far in the classroom activities, it must have enriched your life so far. This being the last module, in this module we have three subcomponents: contributing factors, what contributing factors are there for enriching the happiness at personal and professional life. Number two, visualization techniques, the methods that we have to learn. This is the method which is being assumed, which is being given by all the top coaches at athlete level, at business level. I'm sure I can say right now, okay, if I would have been given this technique even in my young age time, I would have been so lucky. But this takes time because these methods were not available, or you can say it were not accessible. I'm glad I am able to share all those methods at you at this age. Number three, measuring happiness. If you want to improve something, you should be able to measure that. This is a kind of a rule that is given to all the business heads. So similarly, if you want to improve happiness, you should also know how to measure it. Are there any methods to measure that? This is the objective of this whole module. Let's move on with the first part, enhancing personal and professional life. So far, whatever we are doing, so far, whatever we have learned, indirectly, they are enhancing our personal and professional life. If you want to give a one word to that, that is called as work life balance, or you can say work life enhancement. Don't consider work life balance as a cycle that is need to repeat it. Don't consider work life balance as a vicious cycle, but it is a kind of a lifelong process. It's a kind of an iteration. We have to move with the kind of an iteration. That is the whole game about work life enhancement. When we are enhancing personal and professional life, we have to understand in this classroom sessions that what it means to have a personal life, what it means to have a professional life, and what does actually life also means. So when we are understanding all the three aspects, we will be able to connect. So far in all the four modules, we have all the arsenals. Just like if I say those of you who love bikes, and if I say to you, I say to them, okay, please open up all the bike, or you can say open the all components of the bike. They can open the headlight, they can open the gear, they can open the silencer, they can open the seats, and then when everything is disassembled, when everything is open, now you can see everything separate. Now if I say to them, okay, please assemble them, then only a person who has insights, okay, how things get connected, he will be able to do it faster. To unwind anything, to open anything, it doesn't take much talent, but to join that. So same thing is the idea of work life enhancement. So far we have got all the tools of having that, but it's time to just have a kind of an insight. Once we have that insight, whatever we have learned till 1 to 4th module, everything will join magically. So you have to invest in your personal and professional development. It allows you to be proactive. It demands you to have a positive attitude. It will demand from you that you should be self-aware. All of these things which we have learned so far, it becomes automatically a kind of a demand. Automatically it becomes a kind of a ingredient to have that. Just like if I was just saying, when you have a bike that you have opened up, now once the thing is opened up, it requires to be joined. But unless you know exactly where to join what, you will mess up when you assemble all the components. It will be not a bike anymore. It will be assembled, but it will not be anything close to a bike. Similarly, it is work life enriching experience is the kind of how you juggle up with everything, with your attitude, with your personality, with your happiness, everything you need to juggle up. Now you have to assemble that. Somebody has said replacing an employee cost an average around 30,000 pounds. It means it is very easy to fire anybody. It is easy to fire somebody, but it is easy to retain some. So if you want to have an organizational happiness, you should understand that it is very easy to get upset with somebody's inefficiency. It is very easy to get upset with somebody's uh, ineffectiveness. But if you can train them, if you can get them on their work as fast as possible, this will be a better option than firing them and hiring somebody and then again training them. Bearing this in the mind, it might be a good idea to keep your existing employees happy. Here comes the insight. Here comes the insight. Okay, you have to find out those situations where you can improve upon. Instead of finding having a negative attitude towards the employee and saying to them something, it is better to have a positive attitude and see where they are lacking and support them. By expecting is one thing, by supporting them is a different game altogether. You can have an attitude of expectation, but attitude of supporting is a different game altogether. So if you want to keep employees happy, you have to have an attitude of supportive. You should focus on retention rates. Are they going down? Are they going up? What is the thing going on? Focus on that, please. So in this module, we are going to focus on what are those contributing factors for the personal and the professional life happiness. What constitutes, or you can say, if somebody want to be happy in the personal life, what has to be done? If somebody has to be happy in the professional life, what has to be done? So in organizations, as an employer, it is the responsibility to provide a healthy and enjoyable working environment that can stimulate employees' mental and physical senses. It simply means it becomes an utmost duty of an employer. It becomes an utmost duty of an employer to be a kind of a supporting, to give a supportive environment to their employees so that they can be nurtured. So there should be various factors which we are going to cover. The first one is team building activities. The first interaction of the employee is not with the management, it is with the team. If they are not gelled with the team, if they are not comfortable with their team members, if they are not able to synergize with their team members, things will be more difficult for him to perform. Because then to work as a loner will be a difficult thing, but to work as a team is a faster thing. A healthy workplace environment in terms of policies, in terms of lighting, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of work life balance, a workplace flexibility. In Corona time, there was a time when we used to say, when the employee used to go to the boss that he want or she want a leave, it was only then when the boss says, okay, you cannot take a leave because we need you. It is only why only in those times the need of the employee is so prominent. This is a kind of a business joke that we normally discuss. That why the boss always consider the employee to be most precious when the employee asks for a leave. So in the corona time, people have realized that work can also happen when the employee is working from home. Work from home during the corona time became a very norm thing, a kind of a normal thing. So workplace flexibility of how many hours to work, from where to work, what is the punch in time, and all this became a kind of a flexibility options that could be given. So happiness is a consequence, but it takes so many elements to do that. Growth potential, what is the growth option available to the employee in the organization? What is the growth potential? One is the potential in the employee, one is the potential in the organization, means the career ladder. If you are going towards a dead end and you can see that there is no point in going forward, but if you want to create a new position, you want to create a new space That is the potential of a person, potential of an employee, a very effective employee, because he saw the dead end and then he or she is able to create a new career, a new space inside the same situations. Autonomy, the freedom to take a decision, the freedom to do the own things to some extent. Google is giving some authorities to all the employees that they can do 30% to 20% of the time that they work in the organization for their own projects with approvals. So yes, they might not be doing those projects which they want to do. They want to do for society, for the community, whatever they want to do, in which they feel more happy. So they are giving some freedom also for that. Otherwise, you have a work life imbalance going on. This is fantastic. Some of you will enjoy it very much when we would be doing it in the class. These are the various methods of visualization. Please understand, human being is not just a couch potato. Don't think human being is just a skin and a bone and the feces and all that thing. When we think in terms of mind, when we think in terms of the software of this hardware, this human body, that software loves the performs the best when the visualization method is being deployed. So we would be learning various techniques how to deploy the methods for visualizations. If you have remembered any movie like Milkha Singh, in which the Milkha Singh, the athlete, in which he was having the kind of race in the neighboring country, he said ke I visualize the whole track in my mind. He says I visualize the whole track in my mind that I am running from starting to the end. So with this visualization, he says ke I ensure ke from the starting to the end, the whole thing is in my mind and I have to see where is my blockages. Similarly, all the athletes, all the roles of the coaches is only one. They help them to visualize. Maximum coaching is 90% visualization, 10% is execution. So if they can help them visualize, they can remove the clutter, they can remove the clutter from the mind. That could be done without real actions. This visualizations normally we also do in our normal life, whether you are aware or you are not aware. When you are approaching towards a friend to befriend somebody, even you want to propose to somebody, you want to go to the boss for some request, whether you are driving and you are assuming that there will be parking space or no parking space, you are actually visualizing already in your mind that this will not happen, this will happen, this may happen. Even all the possible goals that you are having, even all the possible goals that you want to achieve, even if you think right now, do you think are you going to achieve that? If you are talking to yourself most of the time, you will be talking in terms of images and conclusions. You are not thinking of the process. You are thinking only of the end. This will happen or this will not happen. So this is the kind of a mental tools that we already are using, but we have to learn to use it wisely. Just by having a car and having the leg and the hand does not mean you are a good driver. Similarly, just having the mind does not mean that you can visualize everything perfectly. You have to learn that. So there would be various methods which we are going to cover in the class on visualizations, and this is just one of the ways that we make our life better and create a beautiful mind. This is a kind of a mental imageries. We have to learn to create mental imageries. Just like we have a home and we have our own private room, we have our own space, and we have our couch and we want to relax on some of the chairs that we love the most. Similarly, we should be able to create a mental space which is peaceful, which is creative, which is energizing, which is confident. If we can create those spaces inside our mind, we need a method of visualization. There are various methods of visualization that we can learn in the class. Actually, what it does is it activates subconscious mind, which is the home of creative ideas. The brain is programmed, or the brain readily receives and recognizes resources needed to achieve your dreams. Brain needs instructions, clear cut instructions. Any kind of a confusion given to the brain will create a kind of a confusing output. Visualization needs a kind of a conviction, it needs some kind of a motivation, it needs demonstrations. So we need this tool to ensure, okay, whatever goals we have in our life, this is not a guarantee for achieving the goals, but yes, you will be on that path at a faster speed than anybody else. This is the guarantee which this tool gives to anybody. There is no substitute for the hard work, no substitute for the true path. But if you want a catalyst, what's harm in having the catalyst in solving a problem? We keep on saying we measure depression. If you meet a person who is depressed, the doctor certifies that. The doctor says somebody is depressed. The doctor says what, somebody is ill. So they have parameters. They have all the equipments to measure the oxygen level during Corona time. They have a meter for the diabetes. They have a meter for sugar and all that. But when we think in terms of happiness, people say happiness we cannot measure. Happiness not to be measured. It is just an opinion, just a thought process. But no, there are various methods to even measure that. We will discuss in the class various methods. Broadly, they will be discussed in the categories of four levels: biological, behavioral, implicit measures, and self-reports. When we think in terms of these four methods, biological method, actually they are nothing but the hormones of happiness. We will discuss those four levels of four types of hormones of happiness: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin. These are the various hormones that we will discuss in the class, how they impact, how to measure, and how to get the best out of that. How to know, okay, which is on a fiery mode, or how to tame those hormones. How do we know that our hormones have hijacked our actions? Normally, whenever anything happens, it is the hormones which hijack our actions, and we're not even aware of that. Whether you are angry, or you are happy, or you fall in love with somebody, actually something of the hormones happen. It is those hormones who control your behavior and the actions. Number two is behavioral. There are various researchers who have used behavior to estimate happiness. The frequency of behavior with which you are acting, or you are living your life. There are methods to measure that. There are ways that we can talk about that. Number three is implicit measures. These are not the direct measures, these are the disguised measures. Means they are not, we are not able to we are not able to pinpoint directly, but we would be assessing them indirectly. Fourth one is self-report. There are various questionnaires which are being prepared by psychologists, and there are various reports which are being generated at the world level, whether it is a world happiness report, whether it is a happiness of countries, happiness of individuals. There are various different formats of questionnaires and the goals, but overall they are revolving around the same concept of happiness and the well-being. They are revolving around that. So we would be doing those questionnaires, we would be understanding what involves into that, and how much we can get benefit out of those efforts of all the psychologist questionnaires. This comes to an end, to the end of this module number 5. Thank you, and I'm sure we have still lot to go beyond this intro videos, and I'm sure you must be having a wonderful time. And thank you so much. See you in the class once again. Thank you.